Hello and welcome to another episode of Map Talks. I'm Mats, me and a friend. We had a 750-kilometer drive yesterday with the Model 3. I was going to visit some family in the south of Norway to just back up again. Now that's around a 4-hour drive from home with some ferries and stuff. I think the car shouldn't be able to handle on 1 and a bit of charge. Now, we didn't leave with a fully charged battery. In fact, we didn't leave with a much of a charge at all. I think we had 25 or 30 or something. I didn't really notice. That's partly my fault. And we had to go back and forth because I forgot something. As I said, I had sort of messed up the charging from the off, because this was... I thought about it the day before and then never really got around to charging it. Had I had home charging, this wouldn't have been an issue. I think maybe we would have needed at least one charge, regardless. But I don't think we would have charged any more unnecessary apart from what we already stopped for food and other things you stop for. So in that sense, the drive would have been natural, and we would have stopped when we needed to, not when the car needed to. Like when I drove with the I drove the same tour with the Ioniq last November, I think. And that went very well. We stopped... Actually, I think we stopped almost as frequently. But most of those stops were because we needed to stop. The car needed to stop, not because we needed to stop. And that's a major difference. That's where the separation is from the fast-gen Leaf and the sort of short-range city-based around-town cars. And the intermediate, like the Ioniq, and to a certain degree also the existing 40 kilowatt hour, 40 and 30 kilowatt hour Leaf. And to this new range of cars with also the Ioniq and the Kona and also the Ampera E, or the Chevrolet Bolt for that matter, with proper long range. Where when you stop, because most of the time you plan this properly and you charge a car to do the road trip you're after all going to, you stop because you need to stop, not because the car needs to stop. And now with the even faster charge times rolling out on the Model 3s, so the Tesla fleet, in the coming weeks. I know you had this in the US for a while, we haven't gotten it yet, and they can update the V2 chargers. And also the Ioniq network is getting constantly bigger. Then charging times will drop drastically, and it will get from 20 or 10 to 80% in... If we can get that down to 30-40 minutes on a road trip, I just don't see the point anymore. Because if you stop, you use certainly, almost certainly 15-20 minutes. Depending on what you're doing, you're eating. It could go an hour, you know. And then that is just a moot point, the whole, oh my god, I can use 5 minutes to fill diesel. Yeah, well, that's not really impressing anyone, because I was thinking, we drove yesterday, we've driven more or less 750 kilometers. That's about a tank of fuel. And that costs anywhere between $70 and $100 or euros, I think, in Norway at least, because we have extortionately high fuel prices. And we paid, now we probably charge a little bit more than we should. I haven't looked at it. Say we use 200 Norwegian kroner, or about 20 euros in energy, maybe. I haven't, just a rough guess. And yeah, so that's a walkover. We didn't really get very impressed by the efficiency of the car. We ended up at 193 watt-hours per kilometer. Autopilot is far from perfect. It doesn't handle bad marked roads very well. It sometimes gonna merge and start braking very hard when it sees a car in the merging field, or it mistakes the car from coming this way to actually crashing with you, and it brakes. But 90% of the time it worked perfectly. The seats are good, and we were on the road for, I don't know, 12, 13 hours, I think. Well, not on the road, but traveling. And normally I would have been very, very tired by then, because I didn't sleep very well the night before, and so on. I was surprised actually by how little fatigue I had when I got home, given the amount of, we had to go a detour as well because of a ferry that we just, no, didn't work out. That detour was probably an extra hour, maybe. Anyway, it was more time in the car because you didn't have the pause you get on a ferry, you had to drive it. So that was, but it just worked, and the lights are brilliant. They're so bright and so clear that you don't, and the spread of them is so good. I never had very good eyesight in the dark, and I never really felt strained in the dark at all. It was very nice. And the screen in night mode is pleasant. Once again, the car surprises. Probably because of the autopilot takes so much of the strain out of driving. This is a really, really nice long distance car. We had all sorts of surfaces as well, and yes, on some surfaces it's very noisy. Most of the time you don't really think of it, it just sort of fades into the background, and sometimes you just, whoa, this is new, this is so quiet. And with the stereo, oh, it was really nice. Oh, and I got to try some of the games, and I found that 2048 is a great way to kill charge time, because I was just supposed to try it, and then suddenly, oh yeah, right, we can go now. That's wonderful. So now I'm charging up again, because we came home with probably around a bit under 30%, so no problem at all, but still, just to have some time to kill. What else can I report? Yeah, the USB stick for the Tesla cam is, this isn't broken, because I checked on the Mac, and because it was full, and it's intact, and I deleted the contents of it just to free some space, whatever it was, and it still grays out, so I have to maybe format it anew and see. Let's see, we'll figure out something. Or else I have to get, I really want to buy a new one, given that the USB stick functions as it's supposed to, at least in the Mac. So I don't know. The range it reports is, well, I found that it eats more kilometers than it originally intended to do, or think it will. I don't know if that's because of my driving. We were just mostly on, I think we were doing 90% of the trip on either autopilot or adaptive cruise control because of the road conditions. There's a lot of road work, so autopilot wasn't always available or advisable. But either way, it mostly took care of the speed part of the driving. And as I was saying, it was raining most of the time. But the last half part of the trip on the way up, we had less rain, but still. But I found that I get I don't really, maybe I'm being spoiled by the range, because I probably charge more often than I should. Being like, oh my god, I don't want to drive this car down to zero. But then I guess because you end up with the situation that you have a fully charged first gen Soul, for instance, which I had, and then you stop for charging because you think, oh man, I'm running low on battery. You're not really running low on battery at all. You're just being a spoiled brat. But the supercharger network is scattered around, at least on the highway, very easily on down to the south, so no worries at all. And as I said, it charges quickly enough and covers all your needs. The next time, this was the first proper road trip in this car, and next time I will be better prepared and do my homework. As a car, as I said, with better preparation, this could have been done even smoother, and it's just brilliant. And with the supercharger network, I could have done the same thing in a Kona or an Evo or a Leaf for that matter, but it wouldn't have been as smooth as this one, I think. Well, the Leaf would have been quieter, but fast charging in a Leaf, let's not talk about that. And on this kind of trip you would have to, because that kind of weather just drains your battery. Ah, the auto wipers. Yes, they work 80% of the time they work brilliantly. 89% of the time maybe, I don't know. And then the rest of the time you just tap the button, bring the menu up, and just put it in whatever manual mode you need. Because training cameras to see rain works well. It works best when you have the light in the front and you have the light into the cabin so you can see the relief of the raindrops. Then it worked ferociously well in tunnels and stuff. We had all the overhead lighting. It just went like this. But in the darkness, it didn't necessarily work that well. I have to force start it sometimes. We have very much of the road network in Norway is lighted, so that's a good thing, I think. Most of the time, they did an adequately enough job, and it worked. I have the ambient lighting on. I had the ambient lighting on in the car. I don't drive very much in the dark. I mean, I will later when it gets dark in the winter, but no. But I shut it off because I found the passenger footwell light was slightly disturbing. Other than that, great car. We were also two people that switched that swapped on the driving, so I got some relief. And being a passenger in this car, we had some great views. I more and more just love this open glass roof solution. I can understand the theory of why you don't want it, but up here in the north, no, don't worry. Maybe the car will use a little bit more energy in keeping cool or keeping warm. I don't know. I don't really care. But I mean, being conservative with energy and stuff, yeah, well, I should be, but no, it's cheap, and the car is so cheap to run, and it's not as efficient as an Ioniq. It's not even close to as efficient as an Ioniq. At least I haven't managed to get it there yet. Sometimes I'm impressed by the efficiency, other times I'm not, but it's not bad. But after all, it is a big, powerful car, this, so you have to bear that in mind, after all. Now it's in 2 days. I've had the car for 2 months, and I've now down 8,121 kilometers in it. So it's not been standing still, this thing. Far from it. Anyway, that's enough waffling from me. Like, comment, subscribe. Oh, and if you're considering to buy a Tesla, then maybe you won't use my referral link. Yeah, you get 1,500 kilometers of free supercharging. Comes in handy on a road trip. Well, take care out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.